Measured, mysterious. No ghost has ever been documented in this wing. No physical threat has ever been found. Yet everyone who steps past this door experiences a state of panic they cannot explain. A young man arrives at this isolated mansion in the dead of night. He carries a lantern and a firm belief that everything in this world has a logical, physical explanation. Two elderly caretakers meet him at the threshold. Their warnings are a direct manifestation of the caution humans have used for millennia to survive in environments they cannot see or control. He dismisses their concern. He views supernatural stories as simple errors in judgment made by minds that are easily overwhelmed. After entering the Red Room, he systematically places his candles across the furniture. He is attempting to map the space, using light to establish a boundary between himself and the darkness. This illustrates environmental control. The brain relies on a constant stream of visual data, represented by this radius of light, to confirm that its surroundings remain static and safe. His sense of security is tied directly to these flames. If the light fails, his ability to analyze his surroundings will disappear along with it. For a long time, the only sound is the clock. Then, a single corner of the room seems to lose its definition, as if the light is no longer reaching the wall. Without a draft or any movement in the air, one of the candle flames simply ceases to exist. He immediately strikes a match. He treats the extinguished wick as a technical failure, a small variable he can fix to maintain his command over the room. Then the failures begin to compound. 2 more candles go out. His movement becomes hurried as he tries to keep pace with a darkness that is expanding faster than he can strike his matches. This geometric grid represents the room as a predictable system. When dark shapes move across these nodes, it triggers pattern disruption, the brain realizing the environment defies physical laws. He realizes the shadows aren't static patches. They are shifting and boxing him in, systematically removing his points of reference. As his sensory data is stripped away, his logical defenses begin to fracture under the pressure of an environment he can no longer measure. In the silence, the brain struggles to process the lack of input. It begins to generate internal signals to fill the void. He hears faint whispers that seem to come from the very center of the room. There is no one else there, yet the sound is distinct and immediate. The lack of light creates a loss of depth perception. To his brain, the walls feel as though they have moved within inches of his face. The ticking of the clock emphasizes the gaps of silence, heightening the physiological sensation of being observed by something he cannot see. He reaches for his last lantern. The flame wavers violently and then dies, leaving him in a total sensory void where he can no longer see his own hands. Without visual data, the mind's defense mechanism is to project a threat into the empty space. He feels a presence standing directly in front of him, just out of reach. This is sensory projection. When the eyes see nothing, the mind populates the dark with these abstract shapes, inventing a physical predator to explain the physiological fear it is feeling. All previous logic is gone. He is no longer an observer. He is a man scrambling through a black room, his hands clawing at the air for an exit. He reaches the door and pulls. The lock doesn't give. He throws his weight against the wood, his rational mind entirely bypassed by the need to escape. In these final seconds, the young man is driven purely by reflex. His intellect has been silenced by the physiological demand to find a way out of an incomprehensible environment. By morning, he is back downstairs. He is safe, and the sun is up, but the experience has left him visibly shaken. The old man asks him if he saw a ghost, a monster, or anything else with a physical form. The young man admits he saw nothing at all. He realizes that the most intense terror of his life was triggered by a room that was entirely empty. The old man explains the room houses a force far more persistent than a haunting, the biological architecture of terror that activates without our sight. The true entity in the Red Room is fear itself, a primal response built into our own nervous systems. A visible threat can be faced or avoided, but when the danger is a projection of our own minds, there is nowhere to run and nothing to fight. We create stories of ghosts and monsters because they are easier to handle than the idea that our own imagination can turn against us in the dark. The Red Room is a reminder that while the ghosts might be fiction, the crushing weight of the unknown is real, and sometimes the safest course is to stay out of